Like in every part of what we practice, in all part of our life, is to go beyond the physical all the time, as much as you can, and to hang on to the energy inside. So, whilst I'm going to show you a system, another Qigong system, which complements everything else that you already know, and incorporates all the same elements in many ways, it just uses a tool. It uses a totem, a stick, just a piece of wood, and it's called the Taoist Wand in many circles. It's also just called the stick, but we put our energy into it like we put it into everything we touch, everything we wear, everything we do. And we can also use it as a sort of avatar, if you like, to extend our energy beyond ourselves. So it's symbolic. And the other thing about it, when we use something like this, it's made of wood, we touch two elements. We touch two elements simultaneously. So we worked a lot with water yesterday. Well, obviously we work with wood, but as soon as we cut wood from the living tree for its growth, it actually becomes earth. So it still retains the old energy of its wood energy element, but it becomes more earthed as it starts effectively to go the next stage towards death. So it's in between, it's going back to the source. As it does that, it changes its element. So you haven't killed the tree as you cut it, you've actually changed the energy just in that one act. You've changed it, you've moved it on to another element. And I guess that's symbolic of what happens with us in our lives. As we go through our lives, our elemental bodies change all the time, dynamically. Eventually you get to what we call death, and we move into another realm. And the energy never dies, it just continues to change. It's completely plasmatic, it's a dynamic system. And it's just the universe, the energy that is beyond everything. So the other thing I like to focus on, when I'm in nature a lot, and we talk about nature as if it's something separate. Of course it's just part of us, but it's something beyond what you see in nature, are just manifestations that we put in there so we can understand the universal energy that lies beyond it. So it's difficult to do that, but at some times when you stand in the pure sunlight, if you're in the middle of a beautiful woodland and you can feel the energy of the flowers coming through, and you close your eyes, you start to feel that your body is sinking into the landscape and the nature around you. And at that point, it goes beyond the meditative. You sense the source, the sense that beyond everything there is nothing. And it is just light and energy. And that's why it's quite easy to get into that through nature, because it's a step closer to that source, the nature that we see around us. But all of that is just a projection from us. And what we're really talking about here today is the inside and the outside. Inside-outside energy. Everything, the whole of existence is in here, it's within us. There is no body, we are just energy. But when we do our practice, it's very easy to focus externally. We're moving our arms up and down, we're going to be doing that a lot, moving the energy, and it feels nice in the physical body. But what we're also doing with these practices in all Qigong is stimulating our internal alchemy. We're actually moving energy internally. And this exercise in particular is trying to do a few things, but the main thing it's doing is trying to move our energy internally without us being too conscious of it, between the two poles of the crown and the base centre, and also down to the earth. So what this is about is centering us in that energy and really helping us to realise that whilst we move externally, we can actually consciously as well start to move energy inside. And so we become more of that energy body rather than physical body. So in all Qigong, that's what we do. And then the ultimate, and we'll come to that at the end of this practice, is complete effortlessness and stillness and nothingness. So we end up in a state when we come to the light and when we come to the energy beyond the light, to that dynamic emptiness where there is no movement, there is nothingness, and there is no trying and no effort. When we let go of all that effort, then we just are. And it's very difficult just to get to that, but the way to do it is not to try. It just happens. And you can't make it happen every time you do Qigong or any other practice. But the ultimate aim of all our practice is to get to that point, is to become nothing and to get rid of all movement and effort. So we do lots of movement to get to nothing. But in that is transcendence. So this is a spiritual exercise, like everything we do. We're moving our spirit. When we talk about moving energy, we're moving our spirit, our Shen, so we can connect with the Source. But before we do that, we just need to select or give you a wand. It's called a wand more than a stick, because actually in many Taoist practices it is imbued with magic properties. So there are many rituals and energy practices where when you go to select a wand from the woodland, you don't just select any branch. You go in, you find the right branch. It might be a very special one like this, which actually has got the shape of DNA life running through it. Or one of these. Something that speaks to you in terms of its shape and beauty, or its strength, or its complete beauty and power. And then you can dress those sticks and make them into whatever you want. You ask the tree if you can take it. You tune into the energy of nature and you ask if you can take it. And then you bless the tree and you bless the whole of nature, you bless the whole of existence. And all of these things are just totem symbols. So again, they're a way through, they're a key in the lock of the universe. And so when we pick them up, like when we stroke a cat, some of us held that 2-day-old kitten in our hands today. By holding that and feeling the love and the energy and the blissful joy of living in that little body, we can actually feel love for everything. It's the idea of going through what you have in your hands to the whole of eternity and the whole of the universe through intention to find the love beyond in everything. So universal love, if you like, through one object or one creature or one part of nature.